So as many of you know, Ohio is one of the best battleships in the entire game. But it's for research points, which are very, very difficult to get, very much an end game resource. And now that I got the Vampire 2, as we saw last week, I was kind of wondering, would I rather actually get a Vampire 2 before an Ohio? And then I had this game, which pretty much solidifies that I would very much be Ohio first. But that's just mainly down to me being a battleship player. If you are a destroyer player, or you just really don't like battleships at all, Vampire 2 is amazing. But we're gonna destroy this entire enemy team in the Ohio today, and it's gonna be great. I really was surprised with this one, especially given how this match kind of started. Some of these games tend to be very, very bad when the entire enemy team kind of clumps up in the middle of the map, and then they seem to just destroy your teammates as they tend to just play one-on-one type of games. I was also a little concerned here about pushing into the enemy spawn. It's always something I talk about in a lot of these videos. If you push into the enemy spawn, you're probably going to die. There's not a lot of cover out there, so we want to just hold here on this corner. This is not something you can do very often. It only really works because the entire enemy team has given up these 7, 8, 9, 10 lines, at least as far as we know. Very nice start there into the Nebraska. Yes, those hybrid battleships do have a citadel. It is waterline though, so you have to be very lucky to actually hit it, but it is hittable. It's not like some of the battleships that have a below waterline citadel. So that's a nice way to start things off, 2 quick kills here and 76,000 damage. We're just going to slowly work our way through this Montana. We are using this thunderstorm to help us go dark a lot more often. You notice we're not spotted a lot of the time here. And there's this just little alcove here, or a little cliff on the edge of this island that now allows us to farm relatively easily over it. I actually think this is a more recent change, or maybe I just haven't played this position on this map in a very long time, but I seem to remember this being a very hard cut-off kind of cliff that you couldn't really shoot over. But it's here, and it's certainly helping us take a lot of 1v1s. As always, when I'm in these brawling battleships, I'm trying to limit the number of people that can shoot at us, and this game is no different. I'm trying to focus on the Montana here, but I'll slowly move to whoever is the easiest target to hit without overexposing my ship. I'm also able to play this position because my team has a lot of DDs around here. So we got a lot of spotting, plenty of warning before an enemy destroyer decides to sneak up and torp me. That would be a big risk here, especially as we start pushing out of this area. Again, another battleship pushes out flat broadside to us. It's really nice. The dispersion penalty in these thunderstorms can be a little bit annoying, but we've still managed to do a great amount of damage, so it's really not hurting us too badly. Ohio can have some games, though, where dispersion just says no, and then the ship feels really bad to play. But this was not one of those games. Most of the time, especially if you're running the accuracy upgrade in the 6th slot, you're going to have pretty solid dispersion with this ship. 8 guns can be a little trolly, but overall it's going to be a pretty powerful battleship, at least in mid-range. Not a huge fan of sniping with the Ohio, to be honest, but in these closer range scenarios, 15 kilometers and less, I really do enjoy playing this ship a lot. The enemy team, though, is very clumped up here, so even though I'm considering pushing in, I'm a little worried that they could kill me if they all decide to turn and focus on me, which is very much a thing they could do. That's one of the main reasons pushing into the enemy spawn is such a bad idea. You're at such a massive disadvantage when you're pushing, and there's usually a lot of ships clumped up into a spawn location. So we're going to just back up for a little bit, wait on the push until we've done a little more damage, or the enemies are focused a little bit elsewhere. So when it comes to positioning the Ohio, these are the positions that I want to be taking, where I'm catching broadside battleships, I'm applying pressure to a capture zone, I'm able to maybe flush out some cruisers from different islands that they would want to be hiding on. It's a great position to be in a cruiser on the on my right here, just next to this island. If you've got a lot of support, you can really control this cap zone. But pushing through here, they're just not allowed to be there. Of course, being next to a lot of my destroyers, I'm providing a lot of extra pressure and damage into those DD fights, and I'm always going to try and help my DDs win those engagements, since they're doing a lot of work to keep me safe with a lot of the scouting that they do end up doing. In this game, and in other games, it's really just something that I want to be aware of all the time, is when can I help on those DD engagements. As you can see, we have lost now our Massachusetts in the south, pushed maybe a little too far into the enemy spawn, and we're a little bit too far pushed in now to actually reverse out of this situation. I've now realized that the enemy has more than one DD in the south, and we have to get out of here. And the only real way is through this gap to our right, and this is why this map is one of my favorites. There's just so many weird little positions that you can take, little island chains that give you a lot of cover and different flanking routes. I really enjoy it, especially in airship escort. This map was so much fun. But even in random battles here, if the enemy team gives up the entire 7, 8, 9, 10 lines, it can be a decent idea to push through here in some of these weird little island chains. I really do enjoy it. I wish more maps were designed to make use of channels like this, not have that spawn-to-spawn sniping kind of idea. I'd much rather play something where I'm forced to push around weird little islands and try and figure out creative ways of flanking the enemy team. We do have to be careful of torps here, though. So that is my escape route, is through this channel to my right. I can't just sit here bow in. But what I'm hoping is that this island to my left here is going to block a lot of the torpedo lanes that the enemy DDs might be trying to get on us. I'm assuming, based on the last known positions of those DDs, they're pushing towards the 9-10 lines. And with that, I'm hoping that that island will be blocking a lot of those sight lines. I also tried to wait to go broadside here until that Yamato shot. And fortunately, he isn't actually looking my way. He's looking at our other battleship, who is pushing currently into spawn. And a broadside Yamato, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill. Yamato's got a pretty big citadel. It is pretty well armored, but at these ranges, we have more than enough punching power to get through. But now we've lost another DD into the south there. We've lost our battleship. As you can see, if we just sat there and started reversing or something like that, probably would have ended up dead. 200k though, 3 kills, not too bad. And we have to deal with a broadside Thunder and a broadside Pommern, because I can't angle here. I certainly can't push through this little gap. The Pommern will just kill me with torpedoes, and that's no good. So we have to try and escape here. I'm always trying to think of where the enemy DDs are going to be as well. So since we're still spotted here, it's more than likely an enemy DD is just straight south of us. And we have the C cap under our control, so as soon as an enemy DD gets into the C cap, I'll know someone is trying to flank in that direction. Thunder gets a decent hit on us, we get a decent hit back, although no dev strikes either way. And then just a couple of secondaries hit this Pommern, and that's actually enough to give us Confederate. So all that damage we were pumping into a lot of different ships at the beginning of the game has now paid off. We do have Halsey, and a Confederate gives us a 20% faster reload, which is pretty nuts on a ship like Ohio. So easily going to be able to take out the Pommern here. He does get a torp into us, which is a little unfortunate, but not the end of the world here. 4 kills, 250k now. This ship is just amazing. But in this next engagement, I am going to make a few mistakes. So again, notice that in C-cap there is a DD there. We know where at least one of those southern DDs have gone off to. Now we have a Montana to engage with an Azaccio on our flank. So how are we going to deal with this? I'm very scared of Azaccio torps. I'm going in a very predictable way here. So I'm thinking about slowing down next to this rock. Maybe that's a great way to prevent the Azaccio from torping me at all here. But I'm realizing we just need to get into the caps. Unfortunately, the Montana does 15k, or near enough, to our superstructure fully angled. Probably a 10% of the time kind of shot, or maybe even less, which sucks because we don't actually have that much HP to spare. We still haven't seen Azaccio torp, so I do try and make it a drastic change to my direction, and then I open up too much to the Montana. And yeah, Monty hurts when you give broadside, but we do manage to stay alive, and he's now giving us more than enough broadside for us to hit him back just as hard. In pushing this aggressively across the cap, my hope was that I could get to this right side. 5 shatters, really? Yeah, unfortunately, we actually don't do that much damage to the Monty. But I was trying to get over to this right side, again, trying to use these islands to block some of the Azaccio torp lanes. But fortunately, it seems like he didn't actually get any torps off on us, and our carrier is actually able to finish him off, which is pretty handy. And luckily for me, Also, our sub is going to finish off the Montana, so I don't have to worry about that now. It's just these last 2 destroyers. We know the gearing was last seen in the sea cap, and, well, obviously the Oster is currently spotted. So I'm going to try and take out the Oster, or at least help on that. These battleship shells can do quite a bit of damage if you hit enough of them. Good 4,000 chunk in there, and we're just going to push towards the sea cap. Even if we cap both caps, I don't think we're going to be winning this game, so we have to kill these 2 destroyers. However, our sub does start to go for A, and that is actually going to matter quite a lot, as we do need to end up stalling these caps. So another good hit in on the Oster over the island there, and then we have to deal with a close range gearing. And I'm swapping over to the HE. I really only find high explosive useful when I'm able to guarantee shells landing on the hull of the ship. Notice 3 hits, 6,500 damage. 3 hits of armor piercing would have done 4,500 damage. So it is worth it in this situation. But a lot of times, if you have plunging fire in on a destroyer and you use HE, you can hit a lot of those modules and do negligible damage. That's where I want to use armor piercing at longer ranges, where I can't guarantee those shots in on the hull of an enemy DD. Closer range though, HE all the way. And of course, our secondaries are doing a great job of finishing up that gearing. And there's our Kraken, 300k already, just have to clean up the one last DD. And I don't shoot right away. I probably should be, considering I have Halsey's Confederate bonus activated with that extra reload. But I wait, try and line up the perfect shot, and we actually only get 1 hit. I think I didn't lead quite enough there or something. Our dispersion also wasn't amazing. So now it really comes back to bite me that I didn't shoot instantly, because I almost have the reload to shoot a second time. So if I had shot a little bit quicker there, I would have definitely had 2 salvos and probably would have ended up killing him there. But we have to kill him. It's a minute left, minute 20 left. We do have the caps stalled out, fortunately, as you can see. 931, they definitely would have won this game if our sub hadn't gone back to the A cap and I hadn't got into the C cap in time. The Oster does a great job of avoiding me, honestly. Really, really well done to not only dodge the carrier and avoid me at the same time. And I'm not spotted here, so he's just going off intuition or something like that. Somehow our carrier misses rocket planes on a basically stationary DD, so I don't know what that's about. But we need to kill him. 45 seconds and they win. Even if we do end up getting both these caps captured, doesn't matter. The points won't tick nearly fast enough. It'd be really sad to lose a 300k Kraken game in Ohio. It's happened before, but in this case, though, our carrier does actually manage to land the torp. And that's going to do it. We actually do end up winning, which feels pretty nice. An insane amount of awards there and a lot of damage, which feels great. Honestly, Ohio, such a good ship. Still my favorite Research Bro ship, but the Vampire 2, definitely giving it a run for its money. That ship is a ton of fun in its own right, but Ohio still takes the cake for me. As for the build here, I'm still trying very silly things when it comes to these AA builds. As you saw in the Hanover video at the end of last week, I actually am doing decent damage to carriers while using some of these upgrades, but I'm not sure how valuable that necessarily is compared to just getting a little bit better concealment to surprise people more and a little more tankiness, these kinds of things. But this is what I'm trying here. A more standard build would probably involve getting rid of these 2 AA skills and taking concealment or taking more healing. That kind of thing is very valuable on the Ohio. I love the fast cooldown heals on this ship, which means it's a lot more viable to actually take that 5th heal. It's much easier to get to it in a lot of games. As for the upgrades though, still taking accuracy here. I have tried to meme around with auxiliary armaments, going that full secondary build. Also helping AA, but I think the AVIC systems is just a little bit too valuable. Those extra dev strikes you're going to get with this upgrade are just too good to ignore. So that's what I'm running right now. Ohio, such a beast. Again, if you don't have this ship, it's going to take you a long time to get it, but trust me, it is worth it when you do. This thing is a ton of fun to play and is super powerful. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.